Hey Katie, all right, we have your spread here. And so first we're going to see where in time we're going, and then where we're going, what you did for a living or with the majority of your time, and then your first important day and a second important day, your death and the lessons learned. All right, so let's start and let's see where in time we are going. Where are we going for Katie? Let's see. Where are we going? Alright, that does not want to move a lot, and that tells me we are going into your last life. And I'm seeing this a lot. And I think what it is because our last lives really are connected to our current lives. A lot of them are just kind of seamless in a sense. So, let's see what we got going. So first we're going to Africa. We're going to Africa. Alright, where in Africa are we going? Tell me where we're going. We're going central. We're going Central Africa. We're going Central Africa. I'm seeing a lot of like sun-kissed land, and also barren, excuse me, like barren, I'm seeing like, I hate to say this, but like the poor parts of Africa that we see on TV that we want to help. We're seeing this part of Africa. Alright, so we're going Central Africa. And then, okay, so what you're doing for the majority of your time, or your job in a sense, this is the con card. This is the con card. It doesn't mean that you are a con artist, like in a terrible way, like stealing from the poor. What I'm getting here is you're doing what you're doing for survival. And there's a lot of people who do what you do. And in a sense, you are a bit of a looter. You're a bit of a looter. And you will, here it's almost like you will harm someone if you need to, but that's not your prerogative. You don't want to. But because of the circumstances you're in, you're kind of forced into this survival mode where if you need to take someone out, you'll take someone out because it's kill or be killed kind of thing. And you're ready for that. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so your first day starts with this card. It's the war card. It doesn't mean that there is a war, because what I'm seeing here, these cards are not face value. It's not exactly what it means. What I'm seeing with this card is that there is ongoing turbulence throughout your life in the region that you're living in. Even though you don't stay in one village or one community, you ride around, almost like you make your rounds. You make your rounds. So you don't like to visit one place too often, because it's not like a visit, it's more like a taking in a way. And so you go around, and I almost see you not in a gang. I see you, though, you do have a companion or two at a time, but not always. But you'll meet up with these people when it comes to having to strategize to get something that you want. And so this war card is, there's kind of a constant war in your mind, a constant battle, because you need to survive and you don't know where you're going to get the resources that you need next. And so you are in constant war. You're in a constant battle, figuring out, what do I do now? What do I conquer now? How do I survive? What's my next step? You don't have strong ties with people here. You're a rogue. You're on the go. So this day, while you're on the go, we see something happen here, something interesting happening for the first time. This is a soulmate card. It doesn't mean romance always. And I'm not getting romance here, but I'm getting something like you're coming across someone that you knew as a child, and now you're adults, and you're seeing this person again for the first time. And I don't know if you've had that feeling before, but it's very odd. It's an odd feeling, mixed emotions. You don't know what to think. And this is a very good meeting for you. It opens up your heart in some way, almost like this person that you're meeting, and you're male in this life, and you're meeting a brother, but it's not your brother, it's a heart brother. It's someone you as a child knew well before you became who you became. And this person actually went a different route, because where you stop this day, it's either your old village or a village near your old village where you grew up. And this person turned to God. This person is someone who runs a church, someone who helps people in need, a very giving, loving soul. And even though they know what you're about, they accept you immediately, not only because they knew you as a child, but also because they know that you have a good heart and you're only doing what you think you have to do to survive. Because in your mind, there's no other way. And so for this meeting, there is a feeling of gratefulness that you've never felt before. You've never felt grateful before because you've had to work so hard for everything. You think there's nothing to be grateful for. I made this all happen. What's to be grateful for? I'm smart. I did this myself. But on this day, this meeting, it opened up your heart in some way that you didn't expect. You felt feelings for the first time that you never felt. And one of those feelings was gratefulness. And that's a lesson in itself. That's a very amazing day, something you never forget. So let's go to this second day. And it's your job to make connections, by the way. So what you hear me say here, try to look at your current life and see what fits. Some things might match, other things might be completely opposite. Because if you experienced this in this life, your current life, you might be experiencing the opposite because you've already gone through this. So for example, in your current life, you might feel constantly grateful for things, constantly, because in this life, you weren't grateful for a long time and then it hit you hard. So that's how I mean make connections. Those are where the connections come in. All right. So on this second important day, I pulled this card for the last reading too. Mother Nature steps in, like she always does. She likes to do that. And so we're seeing something natural occurring. Doesn't mean it's always bad. A lot of times it does, but let's see what this means. So I'm asking my guides, I'm like, show me what's going on. There's a child involved. This is the child's card. So the relationship is the child. And then a feeling of, this is contentment. And what is happening here? Mm-hmm. These days are very tied into each other. It's almost like something, like this day happens, it changes you, and you stay still. For once in your life, you stay with this person. It was such a significant shift in your being. You wanted to discover more. You wanted to feel it more. So you stay here. You're used to being on the go, but you stay here. And shortly after, something happens to this place. What's happening here? Something happens. Something happens that leaves something. You begin to care for a child. A child is left in your care. And it's not that you feel content, it's that you're starting to feel other people's feelings for the first time. You're feeling the contentness of the child in your care. And that itself is a huge shift because you thought of yourself as someone that people fear, someone people repel, don't want to be near, and yet this innocent child is left in your care and they are quite all right with you and they accept you and they are happy. But what happened? Something happened that took out something about the child's parents. Something happened. And it had to do with an animal, something with an animal occurred that took a parent away from the child. But this wasn't this day. Something occurred in the past that left the child in the care of the church. There's a church or a religious, wherever this friend was. We'll say church for now. And through your friend and being in the church, this child and yourself formed a bond like that of like you're the older sibling / guardian that could take care of this child, and there's a bond there. It brought you a feeling of peace and stability and stillness that you never understood. And so we're seeing this huge shift in your soul during this time in your life. Okay, yeah. And so with your death, this is the water card. This is the water card. It can mean a lot of things. It can mean, a lot. It's drowning at sea or something having to do with the ocean water, but I'm not seeing ocean water here. What I saw when I pulled this card in the first place, honestly, was a well. You were in a well. You died in a well of water. And it was in hiding, too. It's not like it wasn't an accident. What happened was because of your past, the past in this life, you were being searched out for something that you did wrong. People were coming for you, and you hid in a well. And for some reason, there was no way you can get out, and no one was there to help you out. Almost like in their search for you, they possibly ransacked and kidnapped or killed the people in the village who weren't going to give you up. And you died down there. There was somehow no escape. You just couldn't get out. And yeah, wow. Okay, so for a connection in this life, keep in mind you might have feelings of you might be claustrophobic. You might have a fear of heights, a fear of falling, of an astute sense of vertigo, where when you stand high and look down somewhere, it feels like you almost want to jump off. That kind of feeling, like you'll fall, like you can't help it. Just keep that in mind. Maybe not, but just keep that in mind. And then the lessons we learn in this life, that you learn during this life, this is the brain, mind, strategy card, and it works very well because before you came here, before you got to this part of your life, you learned how to use your mind very sharply and swiftly. You were very smart, very quick on your feet, witty. You can talk with all kinds of people because you had to in order to get your way. So you can mingle well. You're also an easy escape artist. You can get out of a place quickly. You used your mind a lot. You learned the lesson too, how to use your mind, and also how to use your mind in other ways here, because your mind expanded when it was introduced to these feelings you've never felt before. It only expanded your mind and allowed for more openness, more expansion, more brain power, I guess, in a way. You learned a lot. This is also the learning card, and you learned so much here. You cared for others. You learned to care for others after a period of teaching yourself not to care for anyone but yourself. So that's very important. Very interesting life. So just keep making the connections where you can, and that was very interesting for me. So thanks for letting me read you.